I accidentally became a dragon mom. It all started on an ordinary Wednesday. I was doing laundry in the basement when I heard a strange crackling sound coming from behind the old dusty boxes stacked in the corner. At first, I ignored it, figuring it was just some critter that had snuck in through a vent or something. But then, it grew louder, like the sound of ice breaking on a frozen lake. Curiosity got the better of me, so I shoved a few boxes aside and uncovered something I hadn't noticed before, a massive, oddly shaped stone, about the size of a beach ball. But as I got closer, I realized this wasn't just a stone, it was an egg. And that crackling sound? It was coming from inside. I barely had time to comprehend what was happening before the egg split open with a loud snap, and a small, scaly creature tumbled out. It was no bigger than a puppy, with shimmering green scales, wings tucked tightly against its back, and bright, intelligent eyes. I stood there frozen, mouth hanging open, as the little dragon blinked up at me, chirped like a bird, and then toddled over and nuzzled my leg. "Well, this is new," I muttered. The dragon let out a happy little coo and settled down at my feet like a cat curling up for a nap. I bent down cautiously, not wanting to spook it, or, let's be honest, get bitten, and gently touched its head. Its scales were warm, smooth, and surprisingly soft. The creature chirped again, then nudged my hand with its snout. "Okay," I said, sitting down on the cold basement floor. "You seem friendly enough. But what am I supposed to do with a dragon?" As if in answer, the dragon puffed out a tiny flame from its mouth, singeing the hem of my pants. I yelped and jumped back, but the dragon only looked up at me with wide, innocent eyes as if to say, "Sorry, I'm still figuring out the fire-breathing thing." I quickly realized this dragon, who I started calling Ember, thought I was its mother. And why not? I was the first thing it saw when it hatched. But raising a dragon wasn't something I'd exactly planned for. I had no manual, no training, and certainly no idea what a baby dragon ate. But I couldn't just leave her in the basement to fend for herself, so I did what any normal person would do. I Googled, "What do baby dragons eat?" No results. Great. The next few weeks were chaos. I set up a bed for Ember in the corner of the basement, but she had other ideas. She wanted to be wherever I was, following me around the house, knocking over furniture with her tail, and burning holes in everything with her still uncontrollable fire bursts. I tried feeding her regular pet food, but she turned her nose up at it. What she really wanted was raw meat. And lots of it. My grocery bills skyrocketed. As Ember grew, so did her appetite and her mischievousness. She liked to hide in my closet, nest in my laundry, and once, she even tried to roast my breakfast by breathing fire on my toast. It was cute in a terrifying sort of way. I had to start calling in sick to work because, well, I couldn't exactly explain the dragon in my living room to my boss. But there was something else too. Ember was starting to show signs of intelligence beyond any animal I'd ever seen. She understood basic commands like stay and no, though whether she listened was another matter. And when she looked at me with those big, gleaming eyes, I couldn't help but feel like we were somehow bonded, like she really saw me as her parent. One night, I was sitting on the couch, exhausted after a day of dragon-proofing my house, when Ember climbed up next to me. She curled up in my lap, despite being far too big for that now, and let out a low, purring sound. I stroked her scales, marveling at how far we'd come. She was getting bigger every day, and soon, I'd have to figure out a more permanent solution for her. But in that moment, with the warmth of her body against mine, I realized something. She wasn't just some magical creature I'd stumbled upon. Ember was family. That's when things started to get tricky. About a month after Ember hatched, strange things began happening around town. People reported seeing flashes of light in the sky, hearing strange roars in the night, and feeling the ground tremble under their feet. It didn't take long for me to figure out what was going on. Other dragons. I was out walking Ember. By now she was too big to keep cooped up indoors when we ran into one. A massive, crimson-scaled dragon, much older than Ember, landed in a nearby field. It let out a deafening roar, and Ember immediately darted behind me, trembling. I stood frozen, heart pounding in my chest, as the larger dragon eyed me with what I could only describe as curiosity. Then, to my surprise, it lowered its head and sniffed the air around me. Slowly, cautiously, Ember crept out from behind me and chirped at the newcomer. The two dragons stared at each other for a long moment. Then, the older dragon turned its gaze back to me, gave a low rumble, and spread its wings, taking off into the sky with a powerful flap. It was only later that I learned what had really happened. Ember wasn't just any dragon. She was part of an ancient, magical species, and somehow, by sheer chance or fate, I had been chosen as her caretaker. And now, the other dragons knew about her, and me. I don't know what the future holds for us. Maybe we'll have to leave town, find a place where Ember can grow without causing too much trouble. Or maybe I'll have to learn how to deal with a whole family of dragons showing up on my doorstep. But one thing's for sure, Ember and I are in this together. After all, I'm her mother. Sort of. And I wouldn't have it any other way.